Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for both the collective and each individual life path number for August 2022. So before we get into the forecast, I just want to, of course, mention that this is a general reading. So if you would like to sort of dive more deeply into your own personal energies, because they may be very different from sort of what we're looking at collectively or what you're even looking at from a collective life path energy, then please book some time with me. I do offer month ahead forecast, personal month ahead forecast, as well as year ahead forecasts, which again are tuned into your personal numerology and your personal energies. And then, of course, I also offer coaching with numerology, your numerology reports. There's a whole plethora of offerings on my website. So if you're interested in working with me and again, diving deeper into your own numerology and personal energies, then book some time with me. I would love to work with you. Okay, so August 2022, we are working with a 14-5 energy. Now, those of us who have a lot of sort of predominant 5 energies throughout our reports, throughout our charts, this is sort of going to be more, it's just going to be more of what we're sort of used to. We're very familiar with this energy, so we can kind of adapt to it and move with the punches. But it's still going to be important to understand that we're getting a heavy dose of this month. And so just to be prepared and so to be able to work with it to the best of our abilities. Those of you who don't have a lot of 5s within your chart, this can be, sometimes 5 energy can be it can feel a little disruptive. It can feel very transformative. It can feel as if sort of the rug gets pulled out from underneath you. But it can also sort of bring more spice into your life. It can bring about this desire for freedom, to break free, to move beyond the restrictions, to travel, to explore. It's a very big, fast-moving energy. So it can be a lot to sort of wrap your head around and your energy around if you're not used to working with it. So, but it is very much working for us as opposed to against us. A lot of times with 5 energy, it tries to move us abruptly sometimes to where it is that we need to be on our journey. So if we've got distracted or we're procrastinating, the 5 energy is so good about sort of coming in like this big gust of wind to lift us up and put the wind in our sails to get us moving again. So it is very, very positive energy, but it can be a lot to work with. So let's look at the forecast. So this can be a cycle when we are forced to sort of see things from a new perspective, because we're not only working with the 5 energy, we're working with the influencing energy of the 14. So this is also, I've sort of marinated that into this forecast as well. So we can be kind of asked to see things from a new perspective through new clarity coming in or new experiences that help us to better understand a situation. So these new experiences may have us reviewing past behavior to see if there's things that we want to approach differently. This is very powerful energy. So this cycle can highlight areas where we may need to choose to modify our lifestyle in some way to get different results than what we have been seeing. There's a lot of sort of personal responsibility that's sort of, again, included in this energy, right? So this is big, explosive, and expansive energy, and desires that we didn't even know that we had can surface now. The more that we can sort of ground ourselves and keep checking in with the reality of the situation, that's really, really important to remember, like to keep checking in with the reality, because 5 energy can have you thinking about, dreaming really big and using that big imagination and going after those big goals, which is great. But we can often lose sight of the reality of the situation and what we're actually working with. And so it's important to keep coming back to that. I kind of sometimes think of 5 energy as being very similar to like Uranus energy in astrology. It's got a lot of the same kind of dynamic influences. So anyway, so again, the more that we can ground ourselves and keep checking in with the reality of the situation, the less likely we are to sort of get swept up into something that's not truly aligned with us and our goals. So pay attention to, again, like what comes in for you this month. Not to say that new relationships that come in this month or that sort of get springboarded this month won't last. It's very possible that they could, and it could be that this energy is coming in to sort of facilitate that. But it's also possible that we're putting on 6 layers of rose-colored glasses and sort of getting enamored with maybe somebody or something that's not necessarily the best long-term fit. So just kind of keep that in mind. And that's what I say, keep coming back to the reality of the situation, right? Try to find a way to marry both those that more idealistic viewpoint and the reality, and then you'll have like a healthy balance. So this can be incredibly creative energy. So this can be a very creative period where sort of we move the magic of the imagination into something more tangible within the physical reality. So this is very supportive energy for unconventional thinking and creating as far outside of the box as your imagination wants to take you. So play in the realm of creativity as much as possible, while also keeping yourself grounded as much as possible. So again, you're finding the balance between the two and having them work together with synastry, right? Like this can be such an incredibly powerful, creative period if we work with the energy in a very balanced way. So moderation, as I always say with 5 energy, is going to be key for the best results, right? For the most beneficial results of this energy. This can also be a profitable time for commercial, sort of seeing more money and business dealings. So anything that you have to do, like any kind of interaction or any kind of, just any kind of interaction that you have or transaction that you have that's commercial, around money, around business dealings, can be very profitable at this time. Just make sure that you're slowing down and paying attention to all of the details and the possible outcomes or scenarios before fully committing or signing your name to anything. And so I want to repeat that because I think it's really, really important, especially when we're working with 5 energy, because we don't have like any kind of 4 energy here, although we might have some through the illuminations of the full moon or the new moon. I can't remember. But 4 energy is like the details. 5 energy is just, let's go. It's so big and expansive that a lot of times it can lose sight of those details, right? The finer print. So again, slow down, pay attention to all of the details and the possible outcomes or scenarios before fully committing or signing your name to anything. So again, it's not like you want to be the Debbie Downer or, be pessimistic or whatever. It's again, bringing that realism into the situation to be like, okay, this is the risk. This is what could potentially come from that risk. This is the potential outcomes. And this is the scenarios that I could be facing if I take this risk. Is it worth that to me? Right. So there just needs to be kind of this, in the midst of all of this big energy, these periods of checking in and making sure that, the route that you're taking or the risks that you're taking are what you want to be taking, or that you're open to, that you're okay. You've explored the possible outcomes and you're okay with those. You might not want to have to deal with those possible outcomes, but you've evaluated them and you can work with them, right? 14-5 energy can bring big hopes and huge aspirations that make it really easy to sort of disregard or overlook possible catastrophic outcomes. And so that's what I mean. It's like, yes, take a risk, but be sure you're well aware of what the potential risks are before saying yes. And of course, it's life, so we don't always know everything that could possibly happen. I think that's implied, right? But it's about doing your best to try to do the research, just to make sure that you have an understanding of what could potentially go wrong, and are you able to work with that, right? If that were to happen, if the worst case scenario were to occur, can you handle that? Can you work with that? If the risk is too great, then you may want to modify it. So modify the situation, modify the opportunity, modify whatever you need to modify so that if things do go sideways, then you can somewhat easily dust yourself off and start over without too much devastation, right? You don't want to do anything that if things go sideways, it's going to set you back so far that you're now digging yourself out of a hole to try to recover. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, just keep your head about you and just be mindful, right? Just do the research. Just make sure that you're fully educated and fully aware of the potentiality of what could come from these big risks. But don't let that scare you. Like if you do the research and you say, okay, you know what, this is the risk. Yeah, it would suck, but I am fully capable of overcoming it, whatever. It might be a little bit of a setback, but it's not going to devastate me or my family. Go for it, right? Because it's not meant to put fear in you to not do the things that your soul wants to do. It's just to be well educated to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for potential failure, right? Because it also, things with big risks, right? Things with the potential for a big risk, right? Also have the potential for not only like big devastation, but big wins, right? And so you just have to look at it for your own situation and see, what are you willing to say yes to? What are you willing to work with if it goes sideways? So competitive situations can also surface under this energy. So if that happens, try to keep those interactions light and playful. That's going to be really, really important, because otherwise you're inviting in conflict and chaos that can arise very quickly and unnecessarily. So choose how you participate, as always, with this energy. And as always, moderation is going to be key. The more that you can bring in moderation, continue to find your balance, continue to remain centered, then you are going to benefit from this energy in spades. I mean, there's just so much potential here to really flourish under this energy, but just remain as grounded as possible as you play in this 5 energy. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at each individual life path number now. Life path number 9. So I pulled an animal message for you all, and you got beaver energy. And so beaver's message is really about dreams and determination. So when you think about the beaver, they are like the little workhorse animals, right? Like they wake up in the morning, they have their coffee, and then they're off and they're doing, getting tree limbs and building their dam and checking their dam and making sure that their dam is safe for their family and all of these things. And it's funny because they're also, like, if you think about like metaphorically, like they live under the water in these dams, right? And so it's almost like they're deeply immersed, like in the emotive energy, and then they sort of emerge to do what they need to do to to live, right? To thrive, to survive. So they come up from those deep emotional depths that they sort of live in to, face the practical world, do what they need to do, to create what they need to create, to sort of go back within themselves. So it's kind of like this, if you were thinking about like astrology, it would kind of be like this energy of like Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, and like merging with Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, right? So it's kind of like this beautiful combination of earth energies and water energies. It's just really beautiful. And you could really go down a rabbit hole of sort of looking at the metaphor associated with that. And so I do think that there's something here with beaver energy coming through for you all for August that is really asking you to balance out the emotions, the sort of deeper internal, more reflective, more feminine energies with that of the more masculine energies of action, groundedness, practicality, logic. So again, like intuitiveness and logic, right? Like just finding a healthy balance between that, because like with beaver energy, they would not survive without both. Like they would not survive without the water and the earth, right? Because it's like they need the trees to create the dam to like create and sustain their home. So I just think there's a lot coming in here around, again, sort of tuning into the more emotive side of yourself, the more intuitive side of yourself, the more feminine side of yourself, to understand the dreams and the ideas and the inspirations that are coming in for you. And then tapping into that more practical, grounded, masculine energy of action, and becoming very determined about how you create that dream within the physical, like bringing that magic into the physical. So I do think so much is coming in with with Beaver energy around balance and balancing those two out and really using them to work for you, right? Excuse me. And so for you all, for the month of August, not only are you working with the 5 energy for the collective, but you have like a double dose of this energy. So like the undercurrent energy that you all are working with is also 14-5 energy. So you all are really getting a sort of just this massive opportunity for creativity, for creative freedom, or breaking free and finding freedom within a circumstance where you feel restricted or tied down. These are your key themes for August. So again, creativity, freedom, breaking free. This is fast moving energy. So where you may be more used to maybe slower moving energy, potentially, this is fast moving energy. This is going to push you and pull you outside of your comfort zone in maybe ways that you did not expect. It is going to, where life was bland, it's going to bring the spice, and it's probably going to be pretty spicy, but that's not a bad thing, right? This is like this energy, and the fact that you're getting sort of like a double dose of this is pushing you to really step into your glory, or at least start that process, right? To break free of any kind of restriction, to see where it is that you've maybe fallen more into the mundane or doubt yourself so much to where it's becoming crippling, right? And where you're not going after those big dreams, where you're second guessing yourself or doubting yourself or not even giving it the opportunity to grow into something. So I want you to really pay attention this month, again, to your dreams, and not only like, the waking, but also like the sleeping dreams. Like what comes in for you? What are you dreaming about? Where does your mind go during the day when you don't want to be doing what it is whatever you're doing, right? Like there's something to that. And so really explore that. And if there's an idea or some big inspiration that you have or have had that keeps coming back in, it's coming in, it's chosen you because you are capable and because you are ready. Opportunities don't surface until we're ready, right? So if an opportunity or an idea has surfaced for you, pay attention, right? Your ego may think you're not ready, and it might want to keep you in the constraints of your comfort zone. But if that opportunity, that idea has come in for you, and there is a charge, there is a emotional sort of like connection to that, there's something there. So, and you are ready to explore it. So explore it. So again, you all will be feeling this energy probably the most strongly this month. And so if you feel pulled into an extreme, right? Because 5 energy is the epitome of extremes. It is going to, it can you can see with 5 energy, people either falling into like really heavy restrictive energy or really heavy, like excessive energy. And so the struggle for 5 energy is to find that balance, the moderation, focusing the energy while keeping those big dreams, figuring out which dreams to go for and which ones to release, right? Because a lot of times with 5 energy, because it's such big, fast moving energy, so many things can be coming in at once. And so again, you may feel like you're being bombarded with all these like new inspirations and new ideas or new opportunities. You might have a lot of choices to make. And so again, I would say pause, come back to the present moment, find your balance, and balance out your sort of idealistic, imaginative energy with a dose of reality to keep playing, like to keep the playing field level, right? While you create and while you make your decisions and your choices about where you want to focus your energy. So again, this comes back to Beaver energy, where it's like the water energy is the more idealistic, the more emotive, the more sort of ethereal energy. The Earth is the more practical, more grounded, more sort of, again, like action-oriented masculine energy. And so I do think you all are being really, you're really being asked to balance those energies and use them to your advantage to go after whatever it is that you want. And again, this can be associated with or implemented with relationships, with career, with creativity, with whatever comes in for you. Again, this is a general reading. So very powerful energies for you all. And I think that this is going to be a time for nines to, if you again have felt stagnant or stuck or like things in your life have become really routine or bland, I think this is going to be a month for you all where things really get shaken up and where you're going to have an opportunity to decide, what do I want to focus my energy on and what do I no longer want to focus my energy on? Now with nines, you also have sort of this other aspect that's just innate with you all. Again, it's part of your life path, but it's yours again. And I say this in a lot of the readings, but this is a selfless lifetime. So again, like your why has to be sort of rooted in like how your actions can benefit others, right? So when a 9 takes action or does something for selfish reasons, it's going to have a boomerang effect and you're going to face the consequences of that. Now, that sounds so dramatic, but it's just pushing you back into understanding that the gifts that you came here with in this lifetime, the goal that your soul has sort of set forth is to not only empower yourself, but to empower others, to assist others in stepping into their own unique creative energy or whatever, right? Like however it transpires for you. But I just bring that up to say, if you check the integrity of what it is that you're focusing your energy on. And I say that a lot for nines, and I'll continue to say that because again, when you're working with 9 energy, it is such a highly spiritual, high level energy that does not work solely focused on the individual, solely focused on self. And so again, where you're going to face your most challenges is when the why is mismatched with the vibration of the 9. And so again, if it's like you're strictly doing things from the viewpoint or the mentality of like, I want this for me and blah, 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 you may receive it, but it's just going to fall through your fingers type thing. It's not this, that's not the life. This isn't the lifetime for that. Not to say that you can't enjoy whatever comes in, whatever rewards come in, whatever you work for. Of course you can, right? Like if you're doing something, if you have integrity behind what you're doing and it's for the greater good and you see big rewards come in for that, great. Take advantage of that. Absolutely. Enjoy that. You've earned it. But it comes back to the why and the integrity behind the why. So I just want to mention that because this is such big energy and, you may be feeling it very strongly and it's easy to get swept up in it. And it's very easy to get swept up in the wanting to like experience life with all your senses. And it can be very easy to fall more into the self is just such a like, I don't know. It's just such a negative word because, we are, individuals, right? And so anyway, I hate to use the word selfish, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, with this 5 energy, you're going to want to experience life with all of your senses. And so it's going to be very easy to fall into like a more ego-driven action, right? Like your why could be influenced by that. And so again, I just bring up all of this just to say, just keep checking your why. Just keep checking your why. Just make sure that it's aligned with something bigger than you, like something greater than you. All right. Okay. So really powerful month for you all. I think this is going to be a really powerful month. I do think that there's potential for a lot of shakeups, a lot of transformation, but a lot of like, again, just adding more spice to your life, which can be fun. So enjoy it. But the biggest thing is just be adaptable. Be adaptable and find your balance and moderate, right? Like find your moderation, like moderate between the extremes. I think that's going to be important. All right, nines, I hope it's a beautiful month for you all. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.